cable and local television as well. You've seen a few things happen.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. I've been everywhere, man. Yeah, I feel like it. I feel like it. You said we got hit with a solar flare last night, and that explains a lot there, Spencer Bennett.
Man, I tell you, it is. It actually happened the night before last, really, really early. We had five M-class flares, I believe, and three, two or three X-class flares, and one of them was like an 8X. It's just very big, as Trump would say. It's very big,
huge,
very
huge.
So folks are probably feeling it. I wouldn't be surprised if tonight we don't see some northern lights in some locations that we pretty far south. I mean, that's a distinct possibility, my brother.
Well, man, it sounds like it. But hey, it's good to see your face. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off there, Spencer, man?
Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna do a real a thing right quick to put this on my other Facebook page because I've got two. Because why have one when you can have two, right, brother?
That's how you know it's live, folks.
That's how you know it's live, because we're screwing stuff up. No, I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everybody. It's so good to be with you. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Spencer Bennett.
My name is Brant FRICKERK. It's good to see you, Spencer.
Brant, it's good to see you. I don't even need glasses to see you because, golly, you're right there in my camera. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Another busy news week. I don't think it's a coincidence, Brant, that the Grammys were this weekend, that little clown show of satanic goofballs.
Yep. The ritual show, yeah.
Right before that, President Trump decided, you know what? We're going to dump 2 million pages of the Epstein files.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you're going to gather all the pedophiles together, then you might as well, do it with the Grammys, right?
Well, they should have something to think about while they're accepting their awards for selling their soul to Satan. Yeah. And if you don't believe that, folks, just watch some of their videos and then read about the Epstein files, where people like Jay-Z are implicated.
Obama,
Beyonce,
Clinton,
implicated.
Clooney. List goes on and on.
Oh, who are the loudest people against Trump? Oh, let's see. People like Jane Fonda.
De Niro
was in the list.
Baldwin.
Robert De Niro. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are being implicated in this. So we're going to jump in and we're going to tell you about what is going on here because, folks, it is deep and dark. I'm going to give you a warning on this show. Some of the things we're going to talk about today probably aren't appropriate for a child in the room. Some of it's let's just put it this way. A lot of people have been doing a good deep dive on this with some of the photos. Some of it's already been taken down because 200 of the victims who demanded that the files be released. Of course, there was a law that said, we got to have that Epstein transparency. We got to have these documents. Well, it takes time to go through all those documents, and they weren't able to redact all the names or addresses of the victims. Because people like Massey, who's supposed to be a Republican but is never Trumper, demanded that you guys are breaking the law. You've got to release okay, fine, we're going to release them. Here we go. And then they released them and they weren't ready. They're trying to protect people. And you have these idiot congressmen, many of whom worship Baal too, out there demanding, you got to have those Epstein files released. Okay, here you go. But what we did release and what people have downloaded is pretty horrific. It's not a surprise to you and me, Brant,
right?
Because we've been doing this for a while.
Years. We've been talking about it for years, and folks, it's not a conspiracy anymore, is it? I have to say that the people that are going online commenting on this, it's altered their lives. The things that they have seen. You and I have both seen some things in regards with our connections, and especially with the media. Be careful, little lies. What you see is a children's song, and it's very necessary right now, folks. Watch at your own risk, or look at these things. But people thought it was preposterous that we were saying they were sacrificing children and all that, and turned out it's true. It is true. We know people in the industry. You and I have interviewed people in the music industry and movie industry, and it's a very, very real thing of selling your soul to Satan. It's a very real thing, and it's not just a signature, in blood on a contract. There are expectations and things that quite frankly are very disturbing. Go back just about any major celebrity. Go back and look at the loss of life that happened, whether it's a child or a parent or an athlete, whatever, a child or parent or spouse or whatever, a loss right before their big break, their big step. And unfortunately, that's tied up together too. So, hey man, where do you start? But they were eating kids at Epstein Island, and we know that the Clintons and the Obamas, the Baldwins, the De Niros, the Clooneys, you name it, they were frequents, and people just would not believe what's coming out now.
Well, and what we're finding out is when you invite God out of your country, he's a gentleman and he will leave.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and so nature abhors a vacuum. Satan rushes in and he takes over those spaces, and suddenly 10 years after we told, hey, schools, you don't need to have the Bible or prayers in your schools.
Right.
We have abortion on demand. Mm-hmm. And then 60 million, children are sacrificed to Baal under the guise of convenience. Mm-hmm. This is something, folks, that is awful. Yes. Satanism has always been an issue, but it got its foothold in the 20th century. Mm-hmm. When we invited God out of so many different mm-hmm. things. Why do you think the Biden administration wanted to allow 300, and from what I understand, it's now 450,000. That's what right. the last total that they said right. was that got into the country, unaccompanied, just sent to people with the phone number that they had written on their hand. I guess the orders were already taken. The Justice Department has found, from what I understand today, latest number is 145,000 children, which still leaves 305,000 children that are missing still in this country. Many of them probably in slavery, sex slavery, dead because of this. Folks, the horrific nature of what we're about to talk about is beyond the pale. What was conspiracy theory, or what they called us conspiracy theories, for telling you that they were eating people, because cannibalism is all wrapped up in this satanic worship. It's part of their sacrifices. Yeah. I have talked with SRA survivors, satanic ritual abuse survivors, that told us these things. They sacrifice babies. It's generational. They teach their children to do this. And some of their children are even sacrificed for that.
And some of the children take part in it too.
Yeah.
Are forced to. Yeah.
And that's why it's generational, because that's what they were taught to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we're finding out is the pandemic. Epstein was tied to that, and Bill Gates, because they were going to be running pandemic simulations in 2017. Epstein was tied with many, many, many governments, not only Israel, Venezuela, the UK, obviously, with Prince Andrew, and the US. I mean, this guy was an asset to so many other countries that partake of this kind of terrible thing. We find out that, they were going to use the pandemic, that if Hillary Clinton won, that in 2016, they were going to use this pandemic to lock us down for 10 years. And they were going to profit off of it. They were going to use the pandemic as a financial instrument, with bank accounts set up and financial. It's amazing, they started saying, well, if there's a pandemic, then we need the banks to authorize, and insurance companies to say, oh, we're going to cover all that stuff. And make it was basically, they were going to be making money off this, our suffering, which is what the enemy does.
Yeah.
He had a bank account named Baal.
Yep.
Baal, the Canaanite god, or the Phoenician god. It goes back thousands of years, and this is the god they worship. But he had a bank account named Baal, and it's not for Baal money or Baal money. Hint, wink, wink.
Yeah.
We know that he was tied in with the Clintons, that he helped set up the Clinton Foundation. We know that whether it was man-made or not, because we know, because of government documents and whistleblowers, that we can create earthquakes just about anywhere. When the earthquake hit Haiti, the Clintons used the color of law to go in there and kidnap thousands of children. One of her aides was caught with 33 of them, but they got her off and had the charges dropped in Haiti. We know that the Clinton Foundation, in a report by Fox News, and our Justice Department was implicated as being crimes against children. And we've waited for things to happen to these people. Now, for some of us, we think they've already been dealt with, and that what you're seeing is just the revealing of all the things that they did to the public.
Right.
They didn't allow these people to draw another breath, in my opinion, and that's just my opinion, that they've already been dealt with because they were so evil. And the people that are probably playing Bill and Hillary are scheduled very soon to appear before Congress and talk about and give testimony about Epstein, the Epstein files, and their involvement in that. We know that Bill Clinton took about 26 trips to the island on the Lolita Express, where young girls were sexually assaulted, where young children, we don't want you to think, we've seen some of the material that made it out of the dark web about children in cages and the things that went on in Epstein Island. If you ever wonder, why did they have that temple painted the way it was? My question is, why did Disney paint some of their things similar to Epstein Island? Why did Ellen DeGeneres paint her set,
her backdrop,
in the same color scheme as Epstein Island? Why did Hillary send sort of a rebuke to Barack Obama for his $65,000 hot dog party? Now, for those of you who don't know, Barack Obama ordered hot dogs late in the evening one night while he was president in the White House for $65,000. Now, the code for little boys is hot dog. The code for little girls is pizza.
Yeah.
The harvesting of a pineal gland is called walnut sauce, and many of these things show up in the Clinton emails to Podesta. Now, we can talk about the Podesta brothers and Ghislaine Maxwell. You remember that little girl in the UK that disappeared, and they had sketches of the men who were suspects in that kidnapping, Madeleine McCann? Well, it turns out they look just like the Podesta brothers, and the other sketch they have looks like Ghislaine Maxwell. So anyway, going back to Hillary Clinton rebuking Barack Obama, she said, you're opening yourself up with these kind of parties, basically scolding him for having a hot dog party at the White House, Brant.
Yeah.
And that maybe they should do it at their other predetermined locations and not expose themselves with something like that going on at the White House. That may tell you everything you need to know about what's going on there.
So
this is something evil.
Yeah.
Brant, the level of depravity, of evil, of satanic worship that goes on in our government, in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, in the media. They have captured so many institutions. I mean, if you watch the Grammys, you saw that guy named Lady Gaga. And if you've seen videos previously of this person performing on stage, you know what I'm talking about. I won't go into detail here, but evidently the skirt was too short, and we got to see things that kind of revealed that secret. Doing a satanic performance in a bird cage on the set of the Grammys. We saw people going after President Trump because he wants to get these criminals, these child predators, these murderers, these rapists out of the country. But no, we can't have that. We need them in our country for some reason. I would say because of throwing off the congressional redistricting and also the electoral college. They want to keep those people in here. You can see just how infiltrated we are in this country, Brant.
It's all very blatant. You know, people watching live, Cher Butler of the Watchers show. You're correct, Spencer. And remember the Super Bowl, they did a replica of Epstein Island with kids in cages. These people were proud of it and showing us all along. Of course, Nickelodeon, the dimensions of the logo is the dimensions of Epstein Island.
Yes, it is.
And the list goes on. You know, the Island Boys you saw trending years ago. Two identical little boys in pictures with Epstein. And of course, the latest claim that Mandami is Epstein's son through this other woman. I don't know I haven't verified that yet, but it's interesting that people are even talking about that. Would it surprise me? No, it wouldn't. so much is connected, and so tragic, and yet so evil. And again, for those who are familiar with the occult, especially this branch of the occult, they have to show you before they enact a plan. I don't know if you remember the bizarre vaccine. Well, several of them have been that, with vaccines and needles and death and Olympic entrances and you name it. It's been very blatant, and their time is running out. They've been exposed, so they feel they have no reason to hide it. So it's all out in the open, folks. Does it really surprise you? I wouldn't think so, but here we are, and conservative people don't behave that way. They don't act that way. They don't conduct themselves anti-everything, and they're not, child predators. I mean, you have some bad apples in both areas, but there's a group of people that are championing this antichrist, pedophilia, Luciferian, jihadist, communist front, and they're all united. It's no accident, and it's just very, very tragic and very, very dark. Now you know why the bizarre clips of Hillary, "I love pizza," on the Ellen Show, or again other references as well. The picture of Obama, dressed up like a Baphomet. Have you seen that? Or the cam footage of Hillary down in the lower chambers beneath the Epstein temple. Folks, this is very real. And God, I hope you're going to vote this year. The midterms. Do you want these animals being in leadership? I hope you do. I hope you do. One can pray, Spencer.
When 12% of the population voted in our last election here locally, you got to hope that people are going to get off their duffs and get after it. But they've had decades to infiltrate us, Brant. They have set up a judiciary. They've set up law enforcement to protect them. They've set up the media to push their message, entertainment industry to push their message of anti-family, anti-God,
right,
anti-life. I mean, when you say Democrats, you're not wrong.
No.
And I don't care if you're a Democrat or not. I'm curious while you're watching this show and call yourself a Christian. If you still call yourself that, I would say probably become an independent as soon as possible.
Yeah.
For the main reason that they took God out of their platform and booed God on stage at one of their conventions.
Right.
So this has been going on for thousands of years. In case you're wondering and you want to learn more about this ancient religion and how it was dealt with back in the Old Testament, when Elijah was on Mount Carmel, that's in 1 Kings 18:16 through 45. And he dealt with them pretty well. Matter of fact, they slaughtered them all.
Yeah.
Right now, President Trump is tearing down this world order that's built around this Satanist cabal of Baal worship, where many foreign leaders do the exact same things.
Right.
They were getting their people, their children from Ukraine, from Venezuela, and many of these other hotspots for human trafficking, using tragedies and the UN. The UN would be sent in to help out with these tragedies, and then they'd gather up the children from the parents who no longer were alive. And it's just, it's sickening. But God talks about this. Now, many people don't know this. The Baal religion disguised themselves as Jews for a while. And I believe this is what Jesus was referring to in Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 as the synagogue of Satan. Those who claim to be Jews, but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. We are in the last days. Every headline is starting to look pretty biblical, Brant.
It is. And do you remember when Hitler took the seat of Satan in Pergamum and transported it to Belgium?
Germany.
What was that?
Oh, it was Belgium. Yeah, that's right.
And one United States president fashioned his podium at his inauguration after the seat of Satan.
And he also did a huge thing in Denver, Colorado, where the very strange airport is located.
Yeah. And who was that president, Spencer, who did that?
Oh, well, that was Barack Hussein Obama, who was not really a U.S. citizen.
Wait till they find out. Yeah.
was not eligible to run for president or
Right.
even his seat in Congress.
Right.
So everything, I think it's going to be revealed, Brant, because now we're getting down to election integrity. We're going to prove, and we're starting to prove, that the election in 2020 was stolen. And then everything that these people have done, as President Trump, I believe, told Barack Hussein Obama, it'll be like you were never here. And that's okay. Everything he did to divide this nation, to destroy this nation,
Right.
and then carry on his third term through the puppet, whoever that was, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Because we know that wasn't Joe Biden. For many people, oh, he had plastic surgery. Really?
No. I followed him. I followed him since the 80s. That was not Joe Biden. I'm sorry, folks.
Did they remove his tattoos with the plastic surgery? Did they do his earlobes when they did that too?
They redo his eyes and his ears. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they change that he's right-handed? You know, did they change the hand that he writes with?
Or the gait or the height?
Auto
yeah.
pen.
Well, people, and this may sound crazy to some people, but everything else we were saying sounded crazy 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 30 years ago. I've been sounding the alarm on the radio and television, for 3 decades. You have 2, Spencer, and of course we put our life on the line in journalism, and broadcasting, law enforcement for you, counterterrorism correspondence and some things for me. And so, hey, look, we're not saying anything new. One of our new viewers here, what an extraordinary young lady and entrepreneur in Arkansas. She said, be careful, you might be labeled a fascist. Well, it's so interesting that Antifa, they talk about bootlickers. They're using the same rules the Nazis used. And yet, the Nazis were Democrat socialists. Read a book, for God's sake, people. Okay? And the rules for radicals from Saul Alinsky, Obama and Hillary's mentors, the communists. They're just doing what they're accusing the other of doing, just a gobbles trick there. And so, you and I drew our line in the sand a long time ago. In 2012, when I went on 19 live satellites and talked about Obama, that boy-loving cokehead who was MIA during 7 hours of our boys being slaughtered in Benghazi, as his created ISIS was being armed with our weaponry. I drew my line in the sand. You drew your line in the sand even before that, Spencer. You're the first broadcaster I knew to get canceled before there was officially a cancel culture. But of course, the demon entity in the left was alive and well.
That's something we have to face. I faced it a couple of times, maybe more than a couple, because let's face it. I mean, people first of all, can't accept what we're talking about. Second of all, if they believe it, they don't want you talking about it.
Right.
And so thank God I am where I am right now with a Christian owner of our radio station. And it's just amazing to work with him and our attorneys occasionally, who I love. They're fantastic. But, it's not, we ran into this a long time ago where you would have one person take one. Remember Hannity and Combs, where you'd have one liberal over there and a conservative over there, and then they'd argue back and forth. And people would take a side and do it. Yeah, I don't do a show like that. That's not my show. And now, if liberals want to call in and they're not TDS and they're not crazy, then I'll have a conversation with them and I'll ask them entertainment industry to push them. My show is about sharing the truth because I believe the time is short. We're seeing headlines, Brant, and you know this.
Yeah.
In our media, in our news, that are biblical. We are near the end, folks. So I would encourage you, get to know your Savior, the Savior of mankind, Jesus Christ. Please, you don't have to clean up to come to God.
Right.
He is right there to help you no matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are. And he's willing and able to heal you emotionally, to heal you physically, to be the person that you can rely on. Maybe your parents weren't there for you. Maybe a spouse wasn't there for you and you felt betrayed and you've kind of put that off on God.
Right.
Well, God, why, God? Why did these things happen to me? We live in a fallen world.
Yeah.
You know, that's the question that the left and atheists love to throw up. Well, if he's such a kind and loving God, why do these terrible things happen? Well, we live in a fallen world, and we did it to ourselves. Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden.
Right.
And we have been living with that, but God provided a way,
Right there,
himself, the Lamb.
in Israel. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
The Lamb.
People are going crazy on different Facebook pages, responding to what we're doing.
Good.
And we're thankful for new viewers too. A sharp young lady talking. Ariana as well. Nick Shirley is great proof of what we're talking about. He's, Steve Rates. Hey, welcome. I've never seen him before. Bad press is considered good press when you're righteous. Okay, there you go. That's a new name I haven't seen before as well. We've got to come together, folks. We got to come together. If you don't think your life depends on you voting and running for something and showing up, that's why on the screen right above Spencer you see newstalkkcrs.com right there. You also see above my screen patriotsinaction.com. If ever there was a time to vote on voting day, don't vote early. Vote on voting day. We're already set up for paper ballots, but we're the only country still stupid enough to use voting machines that went through Venezuela and made its rounds around the world before it got counted. What are you thinking? So vote on time, vote on voting day. Too early, they have time to doctor it in the middle of the night. And of course, too late's too late. But you really need to show up. So, if you get the ICA app on Apple, you can hear Spencer Bennett with News Talk KCRS. And if you go to patriotsinaction.com, you can sign up for free. You can text Patriot to 84576, Patriot to 84576. You're going to want to be a part of that. And vote and show up and run for something. Well, I never thought about running for something. Well, let me tell you, you don't have to be smart at all to run for anything. As a matter of fact, all you need is greed to run for anything anymore. So how about if you're an intelligent person who loves America, loves your family, loves your way of life, you oppose this agenda that is anti-humanity, and you don't want a drag queen lap dance for your kindergartner in your hometown. Well, guess what? You need a vote. And you need to run for something. We are facing the scum of the earth, and they're in both parties, but mostly the left. But there are also a lot of people down there in Midland, Spencer. They claim to be conservative, but they don't vote that way. What they call rhinos.
Throw this in. We've seen. You said one day voting. The problem is, even in early voting, what Midland did is they changed the times, and they only let people vote till 5. And most people voted from 7 to 5.
And they're working.
And they're working. And is that interfering with the election? I think so. I think there needs to standardize our elections in Texas. I don't want Democrats voting in Republican primaries. That hasn't been dealt with. There's a lot of things we need to do, folks. Call your city representatives, call your state representatives, call your congressmen and senators, and tell them you want change the right way, folks.
Right. And it's time. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? If not where you are, then where? A lot of people, even some people who've joined our stream today, you need to run for something. You know who I'm talking about. Your leadership material. Run for something. We can help. But we've got to take the ground. And evil is united. They may devour each other, but they're so united. Conservatives, like a bunch of toddlers on a football field, dressed up in pads and hitting each other and crying when they get knocked down. Boy, it's time to man up, get tough, be warriors, women and men, and fight for your children, fight for your country. 'Cause we're right there at the door, folks. Charlie Kirk. I wasn't friends with Charlie, but I met Charlie, and I cared about Charlie, and I miss Charlie, and my friends are many of his friends, and I'm telling you, a revolution was started. Don't let him down by sitting on your butt and not voting. 2020, yes, it was a stolen election, but 34 million evangelicals still didn't vote. So for God's sake, vote. Go to patriotsinaction.com, sign up for free, and watch Spencer on newstalkkcrs.com. And Spencer, I'm always so grateful to do Deep Dive with you.
And me, you, my friend. And until next time, folks, that's